Thousands of people online can't agree on Miley Cyrus's personality type, and so to investigate, we dug into hours and hours of footage. At first, things seemed pretty straightforward, but as we dug deeper, Miley started really surprising us.
I love just goofing off, anything silly. I want that to be, shown in like everything I do.
You thought you knew what I was gonna try to do, and then we did something even crazier.
I think it's pretty obvious that Miley Cyrus is an extrovert. What type of extroversion might she be? She's most likely EP. There's a lot of like adjusting easily to the outside.
I think people should accept and be excited about change. The only thing you know for sure is everything's gonna change.
The other pattern that was very clear with Miley Cyrus was her sensing preferences. Whenever Miley talked about things, she was always very clear and concrete, naturally adding in descriptions and context.
Yeah, what's your grandma like?
Her hair went all white when she was like in her 30s. She had this really cool white stripe, and then she went all white, and she has flaming red eyebrows and lips, and she's always in white short shorts.
And the way she loved exploring and engaging with the outside world, it was also very clearly extroverted sensing. She was constantly comfortable jumping into the moment and pushing the limits of her physical experience.
Everyone takes the VMA so serious, and I just want to come out and shoot a hot dog gun. I just want to have fun. Can't Stop is about being at a party, getting wild with your friends, like living.
So yeah, Miley Cyrus being an ESP personality type with strong extroverted sensing, that totally checks out. But is Miley Cyrus an ESFP or an ESTP? This is where the internet is completely scrambled.
There hasn't been this time for me where I've really lost who I am.
I don't like anything that's fake.
Right. And I never want to become something or someone that I'm not.
Anytime I say I'm being myself, whether I look like this or look completely different or I'm a panda, that is myself. I'm always being myself.
On the surface, this can sound so much like introverted feeling authenticity. She's so passionate and she talks all the time about being herself. So how can Miley Cyrus not be an ESFP? Right off the bat though, we noticed two red flags that made us slow down to double check. Red flag number one, over and over again, Miley seemed not interested in exploring or expressing her inner personal feelings. In fact, she often would talk about feelings as something that couldn't be trusted.
Yeah. So I just encourage people to be logical, don't drown in emotion, make your fucking list.
The thoughtlessness that you can have when you're driven just by how you feel, because I think our feelings change.
For ESFPs, checking in emotionally, creating some space for feelings, that's an essential, obvious part of being yourself. Their introverted feeling is something that they trust, that's not easy to ignore. For FP types, it can feel like, of course I need to make sure my decision stays true to who I authentically am, what I stand for, what I deeply care about, resonate with, and desire. These were not the patterns we kept seeing with Miley Cyrus.
I didn't spend too much time crying over it, and it wasn't because I was cold or trying to avoid feeling something, but it was just because it wasn't gonna change it.
I think the thing that makes anxiety worse, Tish, is running away from your anxiety. You need to walk towards it and into it and question it.
Red flag number two. There were times Miley said in words, "That's what I was feeling." But whenever we double checked what she actually meant, almost every single time she was talking about her instincts.
I've always had these instincts. You guys are all worked up, I'm chilling, I'm on to the next one. I forgot about the performance, that's so behind now. You're thinking about it more than I thought about it when I did it. I didn't even think about it, because that's just me. I should have done, it's like, nah, I did it. That's what I was feeling. Out by the beach with maybe one of my dogs. And that's who I really am, but also who I really am. I love these sunglasses.
I was gonna say,
In these clips, do you see how Miley's not actually sharing about her personal values or opening up about any feelings? Instead, what she's actually talking about is exploring, being spontaneous, moving through things quickly, and jumping into whatever she finds exciting, fun, and worth the risk in the moment. What this means is a lot of times when Miley talks about doing whatever she feels, she's not actually talking about honoring her personal feelings. Instead, she's almost always talking about how much she loves extroverted sensing, exploring, engaging, and playing around, which is totally different. This is a great example of how sometimes people can really sound like they're saying one thing, but it's really important to dig deeper and check what they're actually talking about and why they're saying what they're saying. If you're stuck trying to figure out someone's personality type, we always recommend asking lots and lots of follow-up questions, spending as much time with the person as possible, and having some sort of a process process built in to double check your assumptions, because they're honestly very easy to get carried away with. By the way, did you know we were never actually planning to make a video on Miley Cyrus, but she was suggested to us by one of our awesome Guardians tier members. On my website, learn.ericwen.com, we now have 3 membership tiers. And one of the special perks of joining one of our higher tiers is Z and I will actually research and record a deep dive membership video on a specific celebrity that you request. Anyways, the reason I bring this up is because this month, Z and I are doing something special. This month, we're opening up the floor so temporarily Explorers tier members can also submit celebrity requests. And then out of all of those Explorers tier requests, Z and I are going to pick out one to film an extra deep dive membership video on. If you want to increase your odds of getting chosen, in particular, Z and I are looking for a celebrity that's interesting, fun to watch, and that has the internet completely confused on their best fit personality type. So if you have a celebrity in mind that you really want Z and I to analyze, check out our membership at learn.ericwen.com. Guardians tier members, those are the ones we always prioritize and film full videos for, but this month, Explorers tier members are going to get a chance to have one of their suggestions analyzed too. So if that sounds fun to you, check out our membership, learn.ericwen.com. All right, let's jump back into the video. Whenever someone talks about being themselves, people automatically think it's introverted feeling, when in reality, there's actually 2 functions that are really big on being yourself and doing your own thing. Introverted feeling and introverted thinking are both introverted judging functions. So they're functions that like making decisions for themselves from a personal place. If Miley Cyrus is a thinker, an ESTP personality type, we should still see passion and authenticity, but expressed with detached thinking, analysis, and unemotional honesty. Take a look.
I agree there's some truth to that.
There's truth.
But I think you listen to the logic and things, and then you're smart enough to be able to process that along with your thoughts and then make the right decision.
Yeah.
It didn't really make sense, the math, and she's watching. I still think this is dumb. If it was to get a job to pay her back, but she was just paying us to pay it back, she could have just paid it back. It made no sense.
You've changed. I don't know your name. Why is that a bad thing? Yeah. Like, you've changed should be like, yay, you've changed.
You make a list 1 through 10. Add them all up. And if the person was adding, then you know what is expected for your next relationship.
Wow.
And what they were subtracting, you know what you will not accept ever again. I knew that the place to meet my next partner was not going to be at like a fucking Burger King.
In contrast to extroverted thinking that focuses on outside results, getting things done, and working together with the outside to help things progress forward. Introverted thinking doesn't focus on tasks, putting together action plans, or collaborating with the outside. Instead, introverted thinking prioritizes questioning things, pulling apart outside arguments to double check and think through for itself from a very personal place. What do I actually think makes sense and seems reasonable to me?
I'm coming out in pigtails, looking like a giant adult baby, basically, but doing really like naughty stuff. That's obviously fun. If I really wanted to come out and do like a raunchy sex show, I wouldn't have been dressed as a damn bear.
One of the main ways introverted thinking does this is by digging around for inconsistencies, bias, double standards, and flawed thinking.
People don't have their kid photos put up and then be like, she's changed. Well, yeah, you know, if you put a picture of Lady Gaga at 8 and then you put Lady Gaga, yeah, she's changed.
Man, she was a diva. She was a bitch. But it's like, okay, like have The Weeknd come in here and say the same thing. Come on, why am I becoming a bitch? It's like no one would ever say that about Kanye West choosing what lighting he wants on a performance.
It stands for wet ass.
Okay.
Okay, and it got performed at the Grammys. I dressed as a teddy bear and got shamed.
The reason introverted thinking likes pulling things apart this way is because it recognizes that everyone, including themselves, has bias, flawed thinking, or unfair motivations that cloud judgment, that lead to poor decision making. People doing things that don't make any sense, that haven't been checked or thought through, and groups pushing values and expectations that are unfair, that need to be checked and questioned more rigorously.
If clean eating and self-maintenance is going to be important, I know to look in communities where those people are going to gather. I now no longer look at like any sort of AA meetings because
At one point, I just think I kind of was the best new artist. If it wasn't the best, it was the most impactful to a certain generation. Where's the math? Because I feel like if we're doing the equation, I feel like it equals some sort of, you know, just validation.
For a TP personality type like Miley Cyrus, this is what authenticity and being yourself means. Pulling apart other people's thinking and your own thinking to continuously refine your internal belief system.
wonder why I feel like
I can't avoid the bad things and looking at them. Like I'm maybe a little addiction of that, of looking at that. But then why don't I want the hit of the positivity of like seeing the numbers?
I don't apologize for anything. Not that I should, because I don't deserve anything. I didn't do anything wrong.
I'm just always wasting my time with all these people. It's like you can really control the kind of people that are going to like flow in and out of your life.
Straight
and you
up.
can create a filtration system. So I've filtered my life.
Introverted thinking types like using analysis and critical thinking to take care of themselves, to make sure that they're making decisions that are accurate and consistent with what they actually think and what logically makes sense to them, even if it takes digging into some uncomfortable biases or inconvenient truths that other people would normally avoid or not say out loud. One reason I think people have trouble spotting Miley's introverted thinking is, firstly, she's female and a Disney child star, so she's had a completely different set of social expectations put on her whole life than a lot of other TP personality types that people might be used to. The other thing I think throws people off is, in MBTI land, people are a lot more used to seeing examples of introverted thinking when it's paired with intuition. So like a type of introverted thinking that's very debatey, that likes mentally sparring and jumping into abstract connections and possibilities. Introverted thinking doesn't always look like that though, especially when paired with extroverted sensing, a function that's inherently a lot more reality-based, focused on the present, that likes grounding itself in what is, not what could be.
I really love just factual information so you can go, I'm not a total freak. Basically, it's kind of like an X-ray, and it kind of shows you almost like in those thermal type colors of the activity of your brain. There we go. I like looking at my brain and going, okay, listen, like someone cut my brakes, right?
Something wrong must be going on. Let me analyze what's going on with my body and then use that understanding to map where the problem might be.
I can feel like a tightness or a shortness of breath, or I can feel kind of like my skin change of when I feel, you know, that I'm not completely safe.
Miley was super analytical about her body, the different sensations she was feeling, and then thinking through the logic and mechanics of why those feelings might be there and how she could fix it and fine-tune it like a puzzle.
Working, I don't eat as regularly, then my cholesterol gets low. Your cholesterol controls all the hormones in your body. So when you get low blood sugar, low cholesterol, not eating, by the end of the night, if I'm hungry, I'm definitely not horny.
Wait, that's why I never even knew that. That's really good information.
You got to check your cholesterol.
So
Miley checks and breaks apart people's arguments using facts, reality, concrete observations, concrete obvious truths.
My mom always says, like, you guys are overthinking it. I've eaten Cheetos every single day for the rest of my life. And I'm like, yeah, but you're not like a superstar that has to go on stage and do 2-hour shows. You know, my heart really needs to be in good condition. By the way, my mom has crazy panic attacks. So like, I drove from Tennessee to Canada 9 times because of her anxiety. So I don't listen to my mom.
Is there something coloring your judgment because you haven't actually taken care of some things yourself? Introverted thinking likes double check, like, why are you arriving at conclusions that way? Is it because you have something that you're having a bias to that is not allowing you to think clearly? And extroverted sensing, the most common thing to go towards is check if your body is being regulated. Am I just tired? Have I just not slept? Like, let's think about this logically. I'm not being insensitive, but are you just not taking care of your bodily needs? Because that's a basic logic that exists and it's true. And maybe you're just not feeling yourself, or you're upset because you haven't had any sleep.
For anyone still unsure, there's actually one final trick that can make things extra clear whether Miley is an EFP or ETP personality type. With all EP personality types, because they're extroverted and naturally pulled towards outside interaction, that third function, because it's extroverted, it should show up. It should be actually pretty clear when you look around for it. And the reason this is relevant is because in these clips that we've watched, I've been looking around for extroverted thinking, and I haven't really been seeing it at all. If anything, there was actually a lot of extroverted feelings showing up with Miley Cyrus in a way that's pretty hard to ignore.
And I kind of have the thing of just wanting to make sure everyone's feeling good.
The fact that I get to be like a human being, we're just sitting here speaking and communicating, and I'm creating like a human relationship and a bond. I'm so stoked for that.
We kept seeing Miley make decisions based on other people's feelings, her being very conscious of what other people were liking, feeling, and needing.
I'm not gonna back the and like start over. This looks lame. Stop backing me the up. This looks lame. Like, you kidding? I'm getting out. No.
If you really sit down and get to know TP personality types, you'd be surprised just how much they can care about connecting with other people, how they're seen by other people, if they're included or liked by other people, and where they fit into the social matrix. As much as introverted thinking likes doing its own thing for its own personal reasons, that extroverted feeling is still always there, keeping track of who's liked, who's popular, who's loved and included.
People became my reward, is that people loved me, and that felt good. I bought Blink 182 because my little brother would think I was cool, Metallica so my big brother would think I was cool, and Britney Spears so my big sister would think I was cool.
Because of this, and especially because they're extroverted, sometimes ESTPs in particular can really feed off of those outside feelings. The connection, love, attention, validation, adoration can feel really exciting and intoxicating to be a part of.
4:45, these girls were tweeting me pictures like, see, they're going crazy now.
The fans and the audience, they're the best. They almost refill you in this way too, because like all that love for loving what you made is awesome. Dopamine, you're feeling a lot of love, and then you totally crash at the end of the show, and you start thinking that one person loving you is not enough. It needs to be 10,000, it needs to be 80,000.
Realizing how much Miley loved connecting with the outside and getting that outside validation made us suddenly understand a lot more deeply why certain moments of recognition would suddenly get her feeling very emotional. Why Miley kept talking about getting frustrated and hurt sometimes by how she was misunderstood and not included.
And they wrote, Miley is boring. She doesn't get naked and she's boring. No matter what I do, I'm either boring or I'm a slut.
The villainizing, just all those stories. I'd meet someone and they go, man, you're not as crazy as I thought you'd be. And I'm like, thank you. People say that to me all the time, that I'm not as crazy as they thought I would be, and that's just a weird thing to say to someone. I had someone recently try to tell me that everyone in my life is afraid of me, and that really makes me upset. To say that everyone in my life acts out of fear of me.
If you think about Miley being an ESTP, realistic, concrete, analytical, caring, and social, it actually makes sense why thinking about her future and some uncomfortable unknowns would be such a sensitive, vulnerable topic for her.
You got really emotional during it. What was going on there?
My mom was right in the front row. It does it to me now. There's a lyric that says, you've been thinking about the future like it's already yours. And to me, that was just like a lyric about kind of not only mortality, but also that every day isn't promised to us. So worrying about the future that may never come is so pointless. But then me thinking about a future without her just breaks my heart. I mean, I'll get tears in my eyes even talking about her. I just love her so much. But, there might be, and if nature plays its course in the way that it does, I will be an individual without my mom at some point in my lifetime. And that used to just completely paralyze me in fear.
I knew nothing about Miley going into this, but now I feel like I'm sort of a fan. There's a lot of layers to her that only make sense when you spend more time getting to know her. It was also really interesting seeing how much she changed from her early 20s to now. Her self-awareness, thoughtfulness, and maturity was just so different the more she worked on herself and got to know her patterns. With MBTI, this is the type of growth we love helping people with, and that's kept us excited to talk about MBTI for years and years and years. Yes, of course, it's fun to analyze and type celebrities, but at the end of the day, we believe the coolest part about MBTI is actually how it helps us work on our blind spots, find more balance, and be more open to connecting with and appreciating different types of people that we normally wouldn't give a chance. If you've been feeling unsure about 1 to 2 letters in your personality type, or you've been getting some feedback about some consistent blind spots and you've been wanting some help figuring out what's going on, if you've been drowning in MBTI videos but still don't see clearly how your cognitive functions show up for you in real life, click the link in the description and check out our MBTI Foundations program at learn.ericwen.com. Z and I have spent literally years refining a 3-step process that not only helps you find your best fit type, but actually understand it for the first time. It's comprehensive, interactive, has very clear descriptions, and most importantly is tons and tons of fun. Each month we only have capacity to take on 3 new students, so if you're interested, apply today. We'd love to get to know you. The website is also, of course, where you can watch all of our full celebrity analysis videos, request celebrities, ask us questions directly, and even join live workshops. If any of that sounds interesting to you, again, learn.ericwen.com. All the best stuff is over there. Thanks so much for watching today. Catch you guys in the next ones. Bye-bye.